Most crimes are small: a robbery, a scam, a corrupt official stealing a few million. But this story isn't like that. This is the true account of a $4.5 billion heist carried out in the open, through international banks, prime ministers' offices, Hollywood studios, and offshore companies that didn't technically exist. A crime so massive that the US Department of Justice calls it the largest kleptocracy case in American history. And the craziest part, most of the world still has no idea it ever happened. Welcome to the true story of 1MDB, the billion-dollar crime nobody knows about. In 2009, Malaysia's Prime Minister Najib Razak launched a new state investment fund, One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB. Its purpose sounded noble: attract foreign investment, develop infrastructure, boost the country's economy. But from the very beginning, something was off. A young, unknown Malaysian businessman named Jho Low, who had no formal government position, was constantly seen around the fund. He wasn't on paper, he wasn't announced publicly, but behind closed doors, he was the one arranging meetings, pushing deals, and advising the Prime Minister's circle. Jho Low convinced government officials that he had connections to Saudi royalty and Middle Eastern investors. He promised billions. What they didn't know, he was building the foundation for one of the biggest financial crimes in history. The first major investment 1MDB announced was a partnership with PetroSaudi International. On paper, this looked like a Saudi-backed oil giant. In reality, it was a struggling private company with almost no assets. The entire deal was arranged by Jho Low. Shortly after the partnership, something unbelievable happened. $700 million of public Malaysian money was transferred, not to PetroSaudi, not to a joint venture, but to a company called Goodstar Limited. Goodstar had one owner, Jho Low. This was the first theft, and it was enormous, but it didn't stop there. Between 2009 and 2014, 1MDB raised $6.5 billion in bonds through Goldman Sachs. Massive portions vanished into offshore accounts. Money was spent on luxury real estate in New York, London, and Beverly Hills. Money bought private jets, artwork, penthouses, and jewelry. Money funded gambling sprees in Las Vegas. Money paid for extravagant parties with celebrities. And yes, money financed the Hollywood movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. Every cent came from public funds meant for the Malaysian people. Jho Low created one of the most sophisticated money laundering structures ever seen. Here's how he pulled it off. 1. Offshore shell companies. Hundreds of companies were set up in British Virgin Islands, Seychelles, Cayman Islands, Labuan, all secrecy, havens with minimal oversight. These companies had names similar to real institutions, making transfers harder to detect. 2. Fake investment deals. Each time money was stolen, 1MDB would announce a grand strategic project: power plants, real estate developments, oil partnerships. Most of these never materialized. 3. Complicit bankers. At least 2 Goldman Sachs bankers helped structure the massive bond deals that allowed billions to be raised. Money that Jho Low quickly diverted. Goldman earned $600 million in fees, an unprecedented amount. 4. Political protection. Because the Prime Minister chaired 1MDB, anyone who asked questions risked losing their job. For years, the fraud stayed hidden behind paperwork, secrecy, and powerful allies. Everything erupted in 2015. A whistleblower leaked bank documents to a Malaysian journalist, Claire Rucastle-Brown, founder of the Sarawak Report. Around the same time, the Wall Street Journal revealed that $681 million had been transferred into Prime Minister Najib's personal bank account. The story exploded internationally. Suddenly, investigators from around the world launched probes: FBI, US Justice Department, Swiss Attorney General's Office, Singapore Monetary Authority, Hong Kong Crime Bureau, Luxembourg Financial Prosecutors, Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. The evidence was undeniable. More than $4.5 billion had been stolen. The DOJ stated funds were misappropriated by high-level officials of 1MDB and their associates. The world finally saw the truth. Mastermind. Investigators uncovered his global spending: $100 million in luxury real estate, $35 million jet, $250 million super yacht, $8 million in diamond jewelry, $1.2 million spent on champagne in a single night, funding for the Wolf of Wall Street gifts to Leonardo DiCaprio, including a Basquiat painting. Jho Low didn't just steal money, he lived like a movie villain. Today, he is still a fugitive, believed to be protected in China. Najib Razak, the Prime Minister. Najib admitted money entered his account but claimed it was a donation from Saudi royalty, a claim investigators disproved. He was eventually charged in Malaysia with money laundering, criminal breach of trust, abuse of power, and later convicted. Goldman Sachs executives, two bankers, Tim Leissner and Roger Eng, were charged for enabling the bond deals that allowed billions to be stolen. Goldman eventually agreed to a $2.9 billion settlement. Over the next years, US authorities seized and returned assets to Malaysia. Leonardo DiCaprio returned stolen artworks. Naomi Campbell handed back diamond gifts. The $265 million yacht Equanimity was seized. Multiple luxury properties were auctioned. Malaysian courts convicted Najib Razak. Malaysia has already recovered billions, but investigators believe a large amount will never be found. The 1MDB scandal is a warning, a reminder that the biggest thieves don't always break into banks. Sometimes, they run them. This was the true story of the billion-dollar crime nobody knows about.